Welcome, everybody, and we'll call to order the Newman City Council Redevelopment Agency regular meeting of August 9, 2011. Please stand for the pledge. Ready to begin? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Nick, you want to do the honors?
Sure. Dear Heavenly Father, please watch over the council and help us make the correct decisions for the city of Newman and its citizens. And don't forget all of our servicemen across the way and in harm's way. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Thank you. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Davis?
Present.
Hutchins?
Present.
Candia?
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Martina?
Present.
Mayor King?
Present. Item 5, declaration of conflicts of interest. Seeing none, we'll go to ceremonial matters. I don't think we have any this evening. Item 7, items from the public, non-agenda items. Now is the time for any member of the public who wishes to address the council. Please step to the podium. Go ahead, sir. Please state your name for the record.
Good evening. My name is Wayne Philbrook. I am the branch manager of your Newman Public Library, and I wanted to take a moment to let you know about the programs that are available at the library this month. We have a preschool story time every Wednesday morning at 10 o'clock. We read stories, sing songs, dance a little bit. We have a great time. We're winding down the summer reading program. The last day to be able to get prizes for the summer reading program is going to be this Saturday, the 13th of August. And that is also the day of our last program for the summer reading program. We're having a magician come to town. His name is Sean Durham, and he will be giving a little magic show at the library on August the 13th at 3:30. These free programs are brought to you through the 1/8 cent sales tax, the dedicated sales tax, so that supports the library. And the magic show on Saturday is made possible through a grant from the Stanislaus Library Foundation. You're welcome to stop in and visit, and thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Anybody have any questions on Wayne? Thank you so much. We appreciate that, Dave.
Thank you.
Anybody else wish to address the council? See none, move to item 8, consent calendar. A is waive all readings of ordinances and resolutions except by title. B is approval of the warrants. C is approval of the minutes of July 26, 2011 regular meeting. D is adopt resolution number 2011 next to the number resolution authorizing Ed Caton as mayor, Michael Holland as city clerk, to record the notice of completion for the downtown plaza bathrooms project. E is adopt resolution number 2011 next to the number resolution in recognition of the Choose Civility Initiative. F is adopt resolution number 2011 next to number, a resolution authorizing the extension of the abandoned vehicle abatement program fee until April 30, year 2022. Council direction, and I believe we're going to have one warrant. Councilmember Hutchins wishes to pull on warrants.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. If I could pull 100133, which is to NSYNC Systems, just normally as I sit on their board of directors.
With the pulling of that single warrant, we have direction by council.
Move to make a motion to adopt the consent calendar with the exception of the one item pulled.
I'll second that motion.
A motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Acting on warrant number 100133, have a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion we approve that warrant.
I second that
A motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? One abstention. Motion passes. Thank you. Item 9 is public hearing. I don't think we have any this evening. Go to item 10, regular business. Approval of the 2011-2012 CDBG allocation agreement. Stephanie.
Good evening, Mayor and Council members. Before you is the fiscal year 11-12 CDBG allocation agreement. As a member of the Stanislaus County CDBG Consortium, we are allocated CDBG funding on an annual basis for various projects. Since 2005, we've received nearly $2 million in funding for projects such as the Pioneer Park Rehabilitation, Yolo Street project, and PQRST project, which we are still currently working on. In order to receive this year's funding, we must enter into an allocation agreement for this year with the county in order for HUD to release the funds. This year, the city is set to receive $169,795, and staff recommends that the City Council approve the CDBG allocation agreement. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions of Stephanie?
What was our allocation last year, Steph, do you remember?
I want to say maybe
close
about
to the
another,
same.
about maybe another 10,000. It did go down a little bit.
Any other questions? Council direction?
I make a motion that we approve 2011-2012 CDBG allocation agreement.
I'll second that.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Item B is consider appointment of commissioner to fill a vacancy on the planning commission.
Thank you, Mayor. Due to the recent resignation of Commissioner Tom Applegate, we now have an opening on our Planning Commission. We did advertise in our local newspaper, looking for people to apply for that position. We have 2 applications tonight. We're asking that you interview the 2 applicants and then make the appointment. The vacancy on this particular one would, the person appointed would sit in that seat, and it does not expire till February 2012. So it's actually timely because we do have a planning commission meeting this next Thursday of week next. So it'd be a good time, and the new planning commissioner would then be sworn in and take part immediately into a commercial development that we're doing a site plan review on.
Great. In front of you, prior to the meeting, you were given a list of 7 questions that can be asked of each applicant. If the council so chooses, we would interview each candidate, having one candidate step outside while the other one is interviewed, and maybe suggest that either everybody asks 1 question, 2 questions, whatever your wishes are.
I'll ask one.
Okay, well, why don't we do this? Why don't we have, if you want to, I'll pick a number from 1 to 10.
Ladies first,
Ladies first, okay, all right. If you go with the chief, he's gonna take you out in the whipping station out back and tie you down. All right. Mrs. Lucas, would you like to step up to the podium? Sure. It is a prerequisite to be able to read your items. Okay, so each one, why don't we just, everybody select a question, and we'll make sure that we ask both candidates the same question. And Don, we'll start with you to the left. Any particular question you'd like to ask first? And we'll just go ahead and go down the list.
I'd like to ask 3.
3?
Unless one of you guys wants to.
No, okay. Roberta?
I'll take 2.
Bob?
I'll take 1.
Nick?
I was gonna take one. I'll take 4.
I'll make up my own. No. I'll take number 7. Okay. Why don't we just go ahead and Bob, since you got number 1,
Okay.
start with you.
First question, what is your reason and motivation for seeking the appointment to the Planning Commission?
My reason is that I am interested in the future growth and development of Newman. I have about 23 years of combined knowledge in title, escrow, and real estate. So I'm going to kind of come around the backside because I handle subdivision maps, I handle parcel maps through escrow, and so now I'm interested in learning the process from the beginning to that point of when I would walk the maps up to county and get all the signatures. And so I'm really interested in the growth and of Newman.
Thank you very much.
Roberta?
What should the relationship be between the commission and the council?
It would be an advisory position. Is that what you're asking?
Yes. Well,
Yes.
what should it be?
I'm sorry?
What should the relationship between the commission, planning commission, and the city council be?
The relationship?
Yes.
I would be an advisory to the council. So I would take instruction and recommendation from the council. Am I answering the question right?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay.
Don?
It's a trick question.
Vicki, what is your vision of the city, or what would you like to see the city look like in 10 to 20 years?
I would would like to see it somewhat stay the same. I would like to see the infill happen. And I would like to see 33 developed, a little bit more commercial. So it's a nice community. I like the size of it. I would just like to see it, the infill, the subdivisions that are still having vacancies be filled, and some more commercial.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Nick?
What do you think is the most pressing planning concern for the city?
The infill, for me.
For you?
I do a lot of walking around town and bike riding, and I would really, really love someday to see all of that get completed before any other development happens in the surrounding area. I think it's important that we do those curbs, gutters, and sidewalks and get those weeds down and whatever needs to happen, whether it's residential use, multi-use. I would like to see that happen.
Thank you.
I think you kind of answered mine, so I'm gonna switch up. And I'll ask question 5. And that is, what do you like most about Newman?
The people. Truly the people. This is a wonderful, wonderful community. I moved here about 4.5 years ago from the east side. A little bit bigger town area. And I joked when I first moved here because I could go to the grocery store and not know anybody. And now I go to the grocery store and my husband says, "What took you an hour?" So I really do love the people here. It's a great community. And I just think it's just vital that we have that plan that keeps it that way.
Is there anything you like least about Newman?
That's a good question. Probably a couple of the entrances into town, but that's just.
Sure you have ideas to change those?
Yeah, get the weeds down for one. Can I contact the railroad and ask them to kind of mow down the weeds around the train track?
Sure.
Cool. I think I have their number on Rolodex.
Does anybody else have any follow-up questions?
Nope.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank
Mrs.
you.
Lucas. And Stephanie will take you out, and we'll switch positions.
Sit up there.
Oh, she can stay. That's right. She can stay now. I'm sorry. Okay. Everybody has selected a question, so we're going to start to the left with Councilmember Hutchins, and we'll just everybody ask you a question each, and yeah. Oh, I'm sorry, Bob. My bad.
Okay.
I apologize.
I get the
Bob's
first
going to start first.
I'll start the
since
first
you're number
question.
one.
What is your reason and motivation for seeking appointment to the Planning Commission?
I live in this city and I'm working 6 years from now as a dentist. I just moved recently my office in a new location, and I would like to be more involved in this community because I live here. I live with my family here, so I'd like to get more involvement in the future of this community.
Thank you very much.
Roberta?
What should the relationship between the Planning Commission and the City Council be?
As I understand, the Planning Commission gives advisory to the City Council issues and questions regarding the plan and works independently to giving advice regarding the general plan. I think this is.
Okay. Don?
What is your vision of the city, say, in 10 or 20 years?
10 or 20 years, I believe my vision is a balanced growth by population and balanced growing by businesses and growing in the enterprises in the city. And also, I wish we will follow that grow with the growing of the infrastructure. This is next 20 years.
Okay, thank you.
Nick?
What do you think is the most pressing planning concern for the city?
I think that there are several big problems here in the city. I think the pressing issues is the water problems. The drainage system it's an ongoing problem for many years, and the newest issue, I believe, which is a big problem in the city, is the empty businesses and empty spaces which just abandoned by businesses. This is the biggest issue.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, Doctor, what is it you like most about Newman?
What I like most about Newman, I like the people here. It's a really nice, diversified community, and it's a good place to raise a family with children. And what I really like, the safety of that environment. I think it's a good sign when the children could walk to the school. So that means it's a safe community. This is what I like, and also I think there's a great business opportunity in this area.
What do you like least about Newman?
Least about Newman, the air pollution. I think this is one of the biggest problems. The air pollution is coming from the agricultural things, which the dust and also the methane, but I think it's an ongoing problem. It's not just Newman's problem, it's the Central Valley problem in Merced area, and I think this is one of the biggest problems here also. The least favorable.
Do you have ideas or ways you think that those problems can be addressed and changed?
Yes, I think the government agencies who oversee the pollution, we have to address this issue. I did myself several times. I was talked to them when I think there was too much methane in the air, and they came out and they checked the air quality.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a seat. Yes.
I think he needs to be introduced. We don't know who he is.
Well, that's a very good point there, Mrs. Powell. Thank you.
We've been out of town.
I'm sorry. Doctor, please introduce yourself.
I'm sorry, that was my mistake. My name is Dr. Sanders. I'm a dentist. I live in town 6 years from now, and also I'm practicing dentistry. My office name is Newman Dental. So I'm serving the local community as a dentist.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
Doctor.
you. It was my mistake.
I apologize.
That was pretty nice. Turn the lights off. Easier on the eyes.
I'll just, we'll do this first, then I have something special I want to do. Okay, Council, you've heard both candidates, and they have a lot to mull over. Recommendation would come from this council. Somebody have a preference as to what you've heard from both candidates? Who do you think would best serve? I think they both did great, but we have the task of selecting one or the other to fill that position.
Ed, can I ask Michael a
Sure,
question?
absolutely.
This is only till 2012, and this was up for reelection again? Is that correct?
Reappointment, yes.
Oh, reappointment.
It's not an elected spot, it's an appointed
Appointed
spot. That's correct.
okay.
I make a motion that we appoint Vicki Lucas to the planning commission.
There's been a motion by Councilmember Davis to nominate and appoint Vicki Lucas to serve on the Plan Commission.
I'll second that motion.
There's been a motion by Councilmember Davis and a second by Councilmember Martina to appoint candidate Vicki Lucas to the Plan Commission. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you so much. Congratulations. Doctor, thank you for your interest, and please stay involved in the community. There's other appointments that come up for consideration, so I'd encourage you to please stay involved. Thank you so much.
Mayor, just for information for Dr. Sindis, typically in January of this coming year in 2012, we will be advertising again because not only this position, but another one will be becoming vacant. So if you're interested, please keep an eye open. We also advertise on our website if you would like to apply again.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Thank you so much. Congratulations, Mrs. Lucas, and welcome to the Planning Commission. Before we go on, if you just indulge me, I for a couple of minutes before we go on to item B. I'm sorry, C. I'd like to introduce someone who's a special guest in our home. In 1994, my family had the privilege of hosting an exchange student from Germany, from a little village near Baden-Baden called Sinsheim-Winden, which is in the southwest part of Germany. And Catherine was with us for a school year. We've remained close to her and her family all these years, and we talked about 3 or 4 months ago, and we talked regularly on the phone, and so she indicated that her 14-year-old daughter would like to come to the United States, specifically Newman, and we said send her, and she showed up a week ago today. We picked her up in San Francisco. Vivian, come to the front, please. This is a Vivian Ring. She's 14 years old from Germany, and she's spending 3 weeks with us here. We've been trying to keep her pretty busy, so she's getting a whirlwind tour of California, and she's got a best buddy. That's my granddaughter, Isabella. So I just want to introduce Vivian to everybody, and she enjoys Newman, and for the last week we've been on the road quite a bit, so she's quite tired. But we still have more to do. We're taking her to a Giants game tomorrow, and so we got a lot to do. So I just wanted to introduce her, and we're just glad to have her here with us. So thank you. She asked me, do I have to talk? I said, no, you don't have to talk. Yeah. So we're just glad to have her here. So thanks, Vivian, for coming. Okay, now we'll go to item C. Is report on Stanislaus Elder Abuse Prevention Alliance event at the Downtown Plaza.
Good evening, Mayor, council members. Packed house here for item F. So we'll move through here with SEPA has requested, the SEPA is the Stanislaus Elder Abuse Prevention Alliance, has requested exclusive use of the Downtown Plaza for an event, October 8th, 2011, from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. for a health fair. The main event will be between the hours of 10 and 2 p.m., 10 a.m. and 2 p.m., with 4 hours scheduled for cleanup and tear down. The goal of this year's health fair is to educate and provide the community of Newman with health education and health screening. Anticipated health screenings could include blood pressure checks, blood sugar checks, vision, hearing aids, etc. Event organizers have invited many healthcare related organizations to attend, but do not have a complete count yet as to how many will be in attendance. The Dementia Reality Tour will also be taking place in the West Side Theater, and this event has no conflicts with any other community events in the immediate area. The event organizers are seeking council approval for this event. SEPA has made the following requests: exclusive use of the Downtown Plaza, use of the plaza restroom facilities and electrical power at the location. And they have also requested a waiver in the following standards. Day of operation, this event would be hosted on a Saturday per standard. Sunday is the preferred day. Cleanup deposit, downtown standards require a $1,000 deposit refundable. SEPA assures staff that they will thoroughly clean this up and are asking for a waiver on that $1,000 deposit. An insurance reduction to $1 million. Current standards indicate a figure of $3 million. And traffic and control devices, city-owned barricades could be utilized, and we'll probably only need about 4. All other standards for downtown events will still apply. Event organizers have prepared a plan in which the concrete areas of the plaza will be utilized for information and vendor booths. The alleys leading into the east parking lot will remain open, and the east lot will be used for event parking. barricades will be used at the alley entrance to the west lot and the Main Street side of the west lot to block that off for the event use. Fiscal impact, none is anticipated. City services have not been requested, nor are they anticipated. Law enforcement will not be required at this event, I'm sure. And in conclusion, SEPA is an organization that puts on several senior awareness events in Stanislaus County each year. And SEPA organized a dementia reality tour last year in Newman, which was a successful, informative event. Based on the information contained in this report, following options are available. Approve the event as indicated, or you can reject the event. Staff recommends alternative 1. Available for questions if you have any.
Any questions of Lieutenant Short?
No, I'd make a motion that we recommend, or I make a recommendation, we approve the event as indicated in the staff report.
I second that motion.
A motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. It's just going to be a great event. I attended the dementia reality tour last year, and it was quite an eye opener. Having gone through it with my mom, and it was a great event. So I wish you luck, and Monica, I know you guys do a great job. So welcome back. Please come on up, Monica. This is Monica Ramos.
Thanks. I won't belabor the point, but I guess it would, I'd be negligent if I didn't at least say thank you to Newman. SEPA's been around for a while. I think 97 was when it was actually formed, but we had our 10th anniversary event in June, and it was a great success. People, we've got a very active committee in Newman, can always use more. Elder abuse is it's going on, it's growing, even in communities like Newman. No community is immune from it, and unfortunately it's one of those crimes that is very rarely reported. We know that statistically it reduces the lifespan of victims by over 3 years. So it's a serious problem, but education is one of the best ways to try to deal with that right now, and we appreciate all of the support we've gotten from Newman over the years. So thank you.
All right. Hey, Monica. Thank you. Okay. We'll move to item D, is approval of the addendum for water and wastewater on-call consulting services with Stantec Engineering for a not-to-exceed amount of $60,000 and authorize the city manager to execute the agreement. Garner.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, Mayor and council members. The item for you tonight, as you stated, is to authorize an addendum for the on-call water and wastewater consulting services for Stantec Consulting for not to exceed amount of $60,000. Stantec, formerly known as Ecologic Engineering, has been providing professional engineering services to the city of Newman since approximately 2008. They have assisted the city with previous report of waste discharges for our sewer system with the Regional Water Quality Control Board, have completed water, wastewater collections, wastewater treatment master plans. In addition, Stantec has assisted the city with a new test hole for potential future well for the city. September 8, 2009, City Council authorized a professional on-call services agreement with Stantec for a not-to-exceed amount of $70,000 for an annual on-call consulting services. Staff is currently working to improve the water quality through the city through the installation of a new municipal well with better water quality and evaluating the water supply within the city. In addition, staff is working with the Regional Water Quality Control Board to renew a report of waste discharge for the city's wastewater treatment plant. The city has a need for continued on-call professional consulting services in the water and wastewater side of our business. Stantec has been providing exceptional services to the city and has a great relationship with our regulators and continues to have vast knowledge of our city's water and wastewater collection systems. Stantec has submitted a proposal for an addendum to the existing contract, which is attached in your staff report. The addendum is for a not-to-exceed cost of $60,000 with the option for 2 one-year renewals at the city's discretion. The on-call services are on an as-needed basis and will only be utilized for specific tasks as per the city's direction. The cost for these services is split between the water and sewer funds and is not a general fund expenditure. Therefore, staff recommends City Council authorize the addendum for the water and wastewater on-call consulting services for Stantec Engineering for a not-to-exceed cost of $60,000 and authorize the city manager to execute the agreement. If there are any questions, I'll be happy to answer them for you.
Any questions of Garner? I can't not complain, obviously, but I'm pleased to see that It's dropped $10,000. Any reason why? I mean,
The cost varies year to year depending on the needs of the city. And we try to estimate that every year ahead of schedule during our budgeting process. When we were doing the $70,000 one, we obviously had more needs for them. They also have some other agreements with us they're working on with the reported waste discharge. But this one, because of the needs, we're mainly focusing on the municipal well, and we're focusing on some reported waste discharge. So we have some concentrated efforts in here, and it did reduce the cost just a little bit. And this is a not to exceed amount. If it does approach that $60,000, we'd come back to council for direction if they would like to extend that amount.
okay, if there's no other questions, council direction.
I so move for approval of an addendum for water and water waste on-call consulting services with Sandtech Engineering for not to exceed amount of $60,000 and authorize the city manager to execute the contract, agreement, excuse me.
I'll second the motion.
Then a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Thanks, Garner. Item E is report on mutual aid agreement with City of Gustine. Michael?
Thank you, Mayor. As you know, the city and Gustine are only 4 miles apart, and due to our size and location, it's been mutually agreed upon that we provide mutual aid through public safety for backup services for both communities. They provided for us, and we provided for them. In an effort to memorialize this commitment, they're now proposing that we do an automatic aid agreement for fire services, and that draft document has been brought before you. It's gone through our legal counsel, and it's also gone through their legal counsel. This automatic aid agreement would really go to, vehicle fires, structure fires, and vegetation. And also what it does is it really clarifies some issues such as command authority, responsibility for who completes the report, who is on scene, who's in command. Also talks about the response and commitment to getting there. Also, communication is very important, and when you get there, that the two agencies are able to communicate to us, so it kind of spells out guidelines for how that's going to occur. It also includes some hold harmless agreements between both sides, one for the other, which is something that I think is important. Talks about who gets released first, who gets released second, and those types of things. And then lastly, it also agrees that each party will provide these services without monetary compensation. So Mel's not here right now because he'd actually had a badge pinning services. Patterson's pinning a badge on their new chief. So he went to that, and it's going to be the new chief. Also for West End. So anyways, back to this agreement. I think it's really just to memorialize an agreement that's currently in place, and it's been done because we've been doing it for probably decades as a gentleman's agreement. They just thought it might be appropriate now to kind of memorialize that in a final agreement. It's expected that Merced County and West End will also do a very similar agreement for fires that occur out in the unincorporated areas. A lot of our firefighters serve both, as you know, as a Newman volunteer and also as a West End volunteer. So some of our firefighters might be going into Merced County areas, lots of times out on I-5 or some of those areas as backup as well. So with that, we submit this agreement to you for consideration, and we anticipate that the city of Gustine will probably do theirs within the next 30 days. They couldn't do it at their current meeting next week, I believe. They're going to try to do it the one after that. But the city manager has indicated to me they've reviewed their agreement as well, and they're comfortable with it, and they plan to recommend going forward with it. So I can answer any questions that you may have at this time.
I just have one on, I think it's what page, item 9, exclusions. The type of response, Michael? The question I have is, does Gustine City have the authority to release the Merced County fire engine to come to our aid, which is what this is saying? Because they are CDF, even though they are working, or CAL FIRE, excuse me, even though they are working as a...
There may have been a leftover. They originally had it down as some Merced County stuff. I think they might have left that over, but we can verify what's going on there. Obviously, City of Gustine does not control Merced County.
Well, the engine 74 though, which is over there, that's a Merced County engine. And the county would have to release that to come here, not the city can't. So that's why I'm asking, has that even been looked at?
I didn't catch that, so I did not look at that part.
Not that they would never release it.
Right.
But, but the reason I ask that is because they have to post a lot of times outside of the city of Gustine. If one of the Los Panos engines or the San Luis Reservoir engines is out, then they have to move out, which would leave, if we had a fire here, they're not going to release that engine. So it would be I think, good to have some language in there, since it is actually a Merced County engine.
We can follow up with that if you'd like, and talk to the city manager about
It probably would be helpful at least to clarify that,
okay.
just more than anything else. But Don's right. I mean, it's kind of like the West Side Ambulance thing. When they start posting, they're sure they can move them out of the area.
Yeah, Merced County would have to sign off on that language.
Yeah. So I think it'd be worth, probably would not be an issue, but it would be good to get it clarified. Any other questions?
That's all I have.
Thank you, Don. Council direction.
I'll make a motion, we authorize the city manager to enter into an automatic aid agreement with the city of Gustine for fire services.
Second that motion.
Motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Item F is report on Yancey Building Foundation costs. Michael?
Thank you, Mayor. At a previous council meeting, we had some discussions regarding the Yancey building, and that discussion centered on a letter that we received from the Historical Society, Ms. Powell. Based upon that conversation, council wanted us to go out and see what it would cost to get a permanent foundation for the Yancey building at its current location. I think you recall our building official came up during that meeting as well, kind of gave you a report on it. He talked about the structural integrity of the structure as it is. He also talked about the porch and did a few of those things. Again, so based upon the direction of the council, our staff went out. We contacted 2 contractors and asked them to give us a planning level bid. So what occurred was our public works staff went over there, met the 2 contractors at the same time. They walked the perimeter of it. They looked underneath. They had some discussions about what we anticipated improvements would be to set that on a permanent foundation. And they looked at it and kind of gave us their ballpark opinion on what it would be. And they each gave it separately on a written quote. Now, again, these are planning level quotes, and we wanted a ballpark number because we don't have final specs and plans. So the reason we did it this way, again, was to give the council an idea of how much money was going to be spent. And if they wanted to move forward, we would then go out and spend the money to draft plans. We would spend the money to get everything ready to submit it for a bid package, and then we would ask those contractors to submit a bid for that particular project. One contractor came in the $12,000 to $17,000, $18,000 range, and the reason I say that is we have to make a final determination of, is this a prevailing wage job? And as you know, if it's a prevailing wage job, it's 40% more than it would be otherwise. And then also there's some flexibility in there because you don't know how much rebar needs to be in there and how deep the footing needs to be. And our building official and working with our public works staff, it's a pretty straightforward footing for that foundation, but we also need to make a determination of how high to set the foundation so we know how high the building is going to set. Based upon the flood zone area, you're probably looking in that 24, 26 inch range. That's a AO area, I believe, 2 foot of depth of FEMA flood map. So we're going to have to keep up with that. Again, the other bid that we got was in the $20,000 to $25,000 range. So now I guess what we're asking council is to consider whether or not you want us to move forward and spend some money on plans and specs and get this bid and come back to you. As a side note, earlier last week, and in your report it says this week, I received a call from a young lady who lives on the East Coast, and she said, "I am a former Newmanite. I live on the East Coast now." She works for National Historic Preservation Trust, and said, she was reading the article online and said, potentially I could have a grant for that foundation. She said what it's called an intervention grant, and what they do is they try to give, it's like gap coverage. They try to get you to a point to where then you can restore the structure. Unfortunately, we cannot apply for it. We would have to work with the Historical Society, which we were just confirmed tonight. They are a 501c3. It needs to be a 501c3 to apply for it, according to our conversation. So with that, with your direction, we could continue to work with Ms. Davenport with respect to getting all the paperwork. We could assist with the Historical Society. We have some grant writing experience. We could work with the Historical Society in putting that grant application together to see if we can get some money to do a permanent foundation for the Yancey building in its current location. The other option is we continue to search out grant applications. As you know, they're very hard to come by. We have, without Miss Davenport contacting us, we would have not known. And by the way, we weren't eligible for that one anyways. We'd have to go through the Historical Society on that. So anyway, this was a report to get the conversation going and see if we can get some direction from council. I know we have members of the Historical Society that might like to discuss things with you. I know the president, Ms. Powell, is here. She has some pictures that she would like to show you, and probably just maybe do a small talk with that as well.
Mr. Mayor, can we, at this point, can we make a motion to move ahead either one way or the other?
I think we certainly can.
Yeah, we're asking for you
Yeah.
to give us direction to move forward and get the plan and the specs done.
Well, I think as we got in our report from the building inspector several weeks ago, the longer we let it go, the worse it's going to get. I'd make a motion that we move forward either way.
I'll second that motion.
To move forward either way.
You know what I mean?
I'm sorry, I couldn't resist.
I know.
Right. Mayor, I think there are members of the audience that may like to present some information
I'll
to
get
you.
you
Do you
back.
want to see if they're interested?
I'll get you back.
Would members of the Historical Society like to talk? One way or the other?
Barbara Powell, Newman Historical Society. What I did was I brought you pictures because most of you do not know what the Yancey building did look like years ago. And if you want to pass these down, the first picture is a picture of it on the Yancey lot prior to them moving it. And the second picture is Thomas Yancey from Hills Ferry standing by the Yancey Lumber Company office when it was moved here into town. And several years after they moved it in, and this was in the late about 1893, I think, they moved it in by mule and put it there. They looked into the attic of the Yancey building because that was a Yancey home. And they found Mrs. Yancey's wedding dress. And we do have it in the museum, and it is absolutely lovely. We'd like to show it out again, whether at the museum or at the Yancey building. But I don't know how many of you have looked behind the museum. This is what the Yancey building looks like now, and it's a disgrace. It needs to be repaired, and we would like to have that done as soon as possible. We were very happy to hear what Michael Holden had to say about the grant coming from the East Coast. I think that's marvelous, and we will work with him 100% to see if we can get the paper taken care of. And if you have any questions, our president is here, and she'd be more than happy to answer them.
Why, think the council's direction is we're gonna move forward on it, Barbara, so.
That's plus, thank
yeah,
you.
So I don't think, unless you just wanna get up and talk just for the heck of it.
Either way.
Either way.
Either way, right?
Yeah. No, I think we're all in agreement that, you know, we need to do something and get that foundation under that building, so, and by getting someone who happened to see the article on the building and lead us in that direction of getting some grant funding is great, so. So there's a motion and a second. I assume to move to the positive and get more information on the foundation that way. Is that correct?
Yes.
We're still gonna have to go out to RFP, right?
Yeah.
What I would suggest that the motion B is the motion to direct staff to move forward with the plans and specs and to submit said plans and specs for bid and then bring that bid back to the council.
So moved.
Consider directed.
Yep. Either way. I'm good with it either way.
Consensus is we're gonna move forward, correct? Okay.
I had a quick question. I was wondering if the Historical Society had like a master plan as far as the location of the Yancey House, if it goes in where it is right now. Do you have any idea, Barbara, what would happen around that area? Because I think it could be beautiful, and it's just a matter of putting it all together, but I don't know if there's a master plan or any ideas as far as, because once they put it in a location, it's there.
We, as the Historical Society, we contacted the two contractors. We wanted it to look beautiful while it sat there because the city had not decided where they wanted to put. We have members that would like to have it at the plaza. We have members that would like to have it stay right where it is, with a garden around it, with it looking so much better. So it's the city's building. You have to decide where you want it, and we will go from there. If it's behind the museum, we have a lot of things back there that are the city's that are not being taken care of. So if you keep it there at the back of the museum, where I personally would like to see it stay, we want the city to have their people help take care of it, because they don't. And we have our farm equipment that we will readjust. We've donated several pieces, but we have the room for the house to be there and have a garden and have it all fixed up, as well as show off our farm equipment that is the same age period as the Yancey building. And so that is my personal view, as well as others, because a lot of them would like to see it at the plaza where it was first discussed it would be. So it's really basically up to the city what they decide where they're going to put it and put it down on its piers. So we would go with that. We would work with the city we have a lot of furniture. We have the wedding gown. We have things that we could put into the museum if it's left at Yancey building, if it was left at the museum, because it would be close for us to work. And it would be more protected than it would be on the plaza personally, from people damaging it, riding on it, that sort of thing. And that's just my own personal opinion.
Thank you.
I think Mike was worried about it being moved again anyway, wasn't he? When
Yeah,
he made the presentation.
I think, Mayor, just for clarification, I think the motion and the way the staff report is presented tonight is we're going to do plans and specs to place it at its current location behind there. And that location then, leading into what Bob's question is, we have an artist rendering of what that back area could look like. That the Yancey building is very close to the location that is, so we wouldn't have to really move it, and we could then go forward and develop that consistent with the artist rendering that you've seen and you're familiar with.
Thank you.
Everybody concur? Okay. So I think the idea is the foundation that we're talking about, once we get all the information, it'd be in place where it is now. we're not gonna move that building. I don't know it could take being moved,
Yeah.
so.
I don't either. And I think we take more of a chance of damaging it by moving it. And if we make that, as I think I saw that rendering at one point in time, and it can be made to look really beautiful back there.
And we'll bring that out when we bring the bid back to you and for final approval and budget adjustment. We will bring that rendering back out to just refresh your memory, and then we can continue to proceed forward with funding and development of the other pieces of that.
Are you guys good with that?
Very happy with you, thank you.
Well, not everyone is happy out there.
I don't know about the rest. You can
I'm
say
happy
it.
just to see it restored and not, nothing more disappearing, because it's just deteriorating
It is.
so badly that
Yeah.
something has to be done desperately.
Yeah.
And we did have an artist rendering of doing a park-like setting back there behind the museum, and it was beautiful. So I'd be very happy with that.
I know Kathy, you were pretty outspoken about it being in the plaza. I think as time has gone on, I think its final resting place is good where it is, and we get a foundation of it, and it's going to take time, obviously, but it can be beautiful back there, and I'm sure it will be.
I realized that it was in the second phase of the plaza that the money disappeared for that, so, that sort of fell by the wayside, so if it's, if it's just taken care of where it is now, I'd be very happy.
May I tell everybody why she would be happy?
Because I look out my kitchen
Because your
window
kitchen
at it
window
every day.
faces the building.
I know.
And she's watching it
Yeah.
deteriorate as the years
Yeah.
go by.
Well, I think if we can get it to where it's presentable for people can go and actually view it, go inside it, and enjoy it, and appreciate, the building for what it is, would be a great step.
And we have talked to other people about funding and what have you, and Tom Yancey's nephew, Tom, was very interested in the building, and I think maybe we'd have some help there in restoring it.
That'd be great. Very good. That'd be great. All help be welcomed. Okay, if there's nothing further on that topic, we'll go to item 11, items from District 5 Supervisor Jim D. Martini. Jim?
Good evening, Mayor Caton, council members. I just wanted to give you an update on the Health Summit, which will be here in Newman in just 9 days. August 18th, and we will have our third summit here at the West Side Theater. And we have pretty much everything in place that I can see. We have 8 teams this year, up from 7 last year, and we have 14 vendors. All 3 cities have teams, Newman, Patterson, Gustine. School districts of Patterson and Newman have teams, plus there's some other teams that have been put together. So it looks like a pretty good group. The Ag Commissioner will be coming out with his certified scale and be giving certified weights. Each team is 10 members. And then after the weigh-in, we will have our health summit. We will have 2 speakers this year, Dr. John Walker, the public health doctor for Stanislaus County, and Alyssa Epstein, who is a clinical psychologist from Emmanuel Hospital. And we will have a lunch that is provided by the Healthcare Task Force, catered from Blues Cafe in Patterson. So it should be a great event. A lot of work has went into it, and the purpose of this is to eat healthy, stay out of that hospital. We have limited resources on the west side for doctors and medical facilities. So the idea here is to be healthy, eat right, be the right weight, get some exercise, don't smoke, those sorts of things, so you don't wind up in that emergency room or that 30-minute ambulance ride over to the nearest hospital. So I think everything is coming along real well. Mayor Caton will give the about an hour keynote address there, welcoming
At least.
everybody.
Telling me even 10 minutes.
Yeah. I am pleased to say that all 3 mayors have a part in it. Mayor Caton starts it out. Mayor Molina introduces the speakers, and Mayor Patterson, and the Mayor Gustine will be closing the program off. So, this is our 3rd time around, so it's it gets a little bit easier, but still it's a lot of work to put it on. Everybody is invited. There's no charge for it. We hope that the community will come out and listen to our speakers and healthy lifestyles. They're both really good. Each one's only gonna speak for about 15, 20 minutes at the very most, but they're both very good. And then we will have our way out 8 weeks later in the city of Gustine. We didn't in Patterson last year. We're moving to Gustine this year. That will be, I believe, October 15th. And then we'll see who will win. City of Newman hasn't won yet, but neither has the city.
We're honest.
But the Newman Crow's Landing School District did win last year, so we were pretty close. City of Gustine the first year. So who knows this year? Anyway, we're very excited about it. 9 days away, and we hope the community comes out to see it. Okay.
I'm sure they will. Thank you, Jim. Okay, we'll go to item 12, items from the city manager.
Thank you,
Bye,
Mayor.
Monica.
Just wanted to advise the council and the public, this Friday, City Hall will be closed due to economic times and a city furlough day. As Jim said, next Thursday is the Biggest Loser contest. I invite everyone to attend. The following Saturday, which is Saturday, August 20th, we've been very fortunate that we have the VA staff come down and they have a service appreciation coffee here. And it's open to all active duty military veterans, families, and significant others for the service appreciation. Actually, what it does is it'll allow you to connect with the VA as well as provide services that may be available not only to the servicemen and women, but also to their family members. I sent out an email yesterday, forwarded on from the League of California Cities. The League President, Chris McKenzie, will be in Ceres on August 23rd. That was actually at the request of the Stanislaus County City Managers. We have a new group, some lesser year tenured city managers who are pretty feisty. So, we as city managers are tired of the state bullying the cities. And so we want to ask the league president what he's going to do about it and make sure that we don't continue to get the crumbs that the state leaves us. And now they're even taking the crumbs from us. For the Historical Society and for the members of the public, in case you didn't know, 2 years ago the state stole $450,000 from us. Last year they stole $86,000 from us, and this year they're stealing $300,000 from us. Those are $300,000 worth of redevelopment funds. And what we've done with those redevelopment funds in the past is we've done plaza projects, we've done historical theater projects, restoration of buildings. Very well could have been money we could have used to help with the Yancey building and or phase 2 of the plaza and a bunch of other things. That's nearly $1 million in 3 years. It's almost $800,000 in 3 years that the state has stole from us. Now, moving forward, what they've said is they've passed 2 bills. The first one says, okay, redevelopment agencies, you're no longer allowed to operate. You're basically terminated. Unless, on July 15th of next year, you give us $300,000. So, and back in New Jersey, I think that's the way they operate. Unfortunately, our state government's operating that, and you can thank your assemblywoman for that because she voted for it. And then after we give them $300,000 in January, we have to give them about $90,000 a year from every year from then forward. So that's a lot of money that leaves this community. And those are local tax dollars, your tax dollars, that you pay in property tax. That the redevelopment says it's captured them and says those are local tax dollars, they should be kept locally and they should be spent on local projects. They're no longer available to us. So we can no longer do projects like the West Side Theater. We can no longer do your streetscape. We can no longer do your plaza. And there's also infrastructure, the sidewalks. We've been doing some sidewalk infill projects in the older part of town. And we've been fixing some curb and gutters and putting that in. Those projects all go away because the governor's taking that money. So if you're as mad as I am, I would encourage you to contact your local representatives, your assemblywoman. Your state senator supports the local control and voted against that, but your assembly person did not. She sided with the Democrats and took that away from us. So, anyways, I'd encourage you to do that and take that away. Over the next 45 to 60 days, we will be bringing an ordinance before you, as well as a couple other resolutions that are necessary for us to continue to operate as a redevelopment agency. CRA, California Redevelopment Agent Association, and League of California Cities has filed a lawsuit saying that this take is unconstitutional. We've asked for a stay, and we asked for that to be decided on August 15th. We don't know if it will. In the meantime, though, your finance director and I will be conferencing tomorrow with our redevelopment attorney and mapping out our course for us to continue to stay alive. So it's a hard decision to make, but ultimately it does allow us to continue to capture some local taxes and keep those local instead of everything going to the state.
That's on the 23rd with McKinsey?
McKinsey's on the 23rd, that's correct. So with that, I can answer any of your questions at this time.
Any questions of Michael?
Just Michael, why don't you tell us about our new home, our new city hall?
Yes, thank you, Bob. For those that weren't at our last meeting, the council elected to move forward, and as of July 29th, the city of Newman owns the Oddfellows building on the corner of Fresno and Main Street. I think it's a very good purchase for the city, and I'll tell you why. It shows a commitment this council has to the downtown. City Hall will be located in downtown for the next couple decades at least, minimum. There's plenty of space down there, 15,000 square feet between the upstairs and the downstairs. Also, it'll make sure that that property stays in good hands and is maintained over the long run. It doesn't get into an ownership who might come across some financial situations that might lead to its deterioration. So it will stay local, under local ownership for as long as you can imagine, and it will be the home to City Hall. So you know that your City Hall will be in downtown. Lots of cities move out of downtown and move to the fringes of the communities. You can rest assured that City Hall will be in downtown Newman for many decades to come. So I think it was a great purchase, and very the vision of this council and the foresight to take advantage of that was great, and it should be applauded.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you.
Any other questions, Michael? All right, thanks. Staff, Chief?
Good evening, Mayor, council members. Just a quick update on a couple cases. The armed robbery at JJ's Liquors. Last Wednesday, we did arrest the suspect. He was hiding inside of a house. We got a tip that he was there, and he would not come out. Canine Odin went in, and he decided to give up very quickly when he heard the dog coming in, so it was good for everyone. Some of you might have noticed some graffiti that popped up last night. We did make 4 arrests last night. A concerned citizen advised us that there were some kids in an alleyway that looked like they were up to no good, and they were. So there was some tagging over here at the new apartment building on the block wall and on the backside of the Oddfellows building, which is not the city-owned building, but the one right next to it. So we made 4 arrests last night on that. And with that, I'll answer any questions.
Great. Any questions of the Chief? Good work, Chief. Thank you. Garner?
Good evening, Mayor and council members. Just quick updates on some projects we have going on, and I have a short PowerPoint slide presentation for you. Main Street, the intersection names, that project is currently out to bid, and the bid opening on that is September 6th, and then shortly thereafter, once we evaluate the bids, then we'll come back to council for direction on that one. There's another project coming forward. It's M Street sewer line replacement, which is on this side of the freeway or highway over here. We have a sewer line that continually has plugging problems, and that project is currently in design. About 30 days after the Main Street 1 bids, we'll be bidding this project. The other project we have is Phase 3 of the CDBG, which you approved the funding for tonight. PQR and Tulare Street, we're going to be doing some improvements over there, mainly focusing on health and safety issues regarding handicap ramps. We have the half pipes in there. We're going to be looking at taking those out and putting in the correct handicap ramps for ADA access, and then fixing some of the worst case scenarios on the curb and gutter. In addition to that, the water rate study is being activated again. We have a proposal from the consultant regarding what we need to do to get that finished up, and I'll be getting with the ad hoc committee on that. And then the car show. It was a great event. I have to thank the chamber for putting on an awesome event. They did a great job. We had, I'm going to guess, 300 to 500 people show up between the whole event. The people that I seen with the cars, they really enjoyed themselves. We had some really nice cars out there. Really low-key event. It was family atmosphere. I have to say that we had no problems. We come in on Monday morning, very minimal cleanup. It was really, there was no trash to speak of, and the barricades were all put back in order, and it went off really well. So I really thank the chamber for putting on an awesome event. I look forward to the next one. So with that, I have a short PowerPoint presentation. Some things going on around the city. A while ago, I think it was in January, I did a presentation regarding our corporation yard and potentially looking at a new one. Another option we have is to look at possibly 2 smaller corporation yards. This is the way our corporation yard looks now. If you remember back in January, it was looking pretty dilapidated. Public Works staff decided that it was incumbent upon them to not look that way, and they've come in and completely sandblasted and replaced all the wood siding around here and put some trim on it with the help of our AWP workers. We have some pretty craft-skilled AWP workers. They're revitalizing this building and decided that they're going to try and make this work along with the water yard that we're looking at as a future satellite yard. It's come along really nice. The next phases we're going to be doing is coming in here and regrading this and putting in some nice gravel areas, a little lean-to cover in the front, and then on the back side of that we're also improving that and organizing all the equipment. So they've really taken a renewed interest in this corporation yard, so we're pretty excited about it. The bark. So the rubberized bark, if you haven't noticed, we got a grant for some free, I call it free, it was a $122,000 grant for rubberized bark, and we started doing some installation. First one, we wanted to get the bark in before the car show, so we put the bark in down through the plaza, and it really brought the plants out. You could really see them really nice now. Where before with the dirt, you really couldn't tell them. You could see them very well. So we went with the red color in there, and it stood out very nice. This is the view of the nice ornamental trees and bushes in front of the St. George. And this is the planters that we have that are in the parking lot areas. And then this is the view looking at our new bathrooms that were also opened for our event. That stayed very clean. They were used very well. It was received very positive, and the bark didn't get scattered throughout the whole event. It was very nice. I was there. I stayed until the very end of the event just to make sure nobody would come in and start kicking bark around. It was beautiful. And then we went to the very nice movie night, in which we had the whole basin, and the movie night was filled with people. It was really nice. It was a great event. 200-300 people, but I'm an optimist, not a pessimist, so I'm going to say 300 people. So, and then Pioneer Park. So we've completely gutted Pioneer Park, pulled out all the old bark, and put in 42,000-pound bales of rubberized bark in the park. And this project turned out very nice. It really brought out the colors. You can't see them as well here, but it brought out the colors of the play equipment that was previously installed with some previous grant funding. And it was interesting this afternoon during lunch, I'm walking around the park and I see this little kid tear off across that bark, tripped, fell, started laughing, got up, and just took off running. If you get a chance, go over, check it out, walk on it. It's very cushiony. And so it's a very nice amenity to the park. Now, the next phase what we're going to be looking at is some of the other parks, Sherman Park, Borba Park, and some of the landscape areas. We'll slowly start phasing that in. It takes a lot of effort to get it all cleaned out and get the bark and get it put back in, so you'll see us doing this over the next year, phasing these in at different parks. And with that, I'll answer any questions you may have.
Any questions, Garner? Garner, I agree that the car event was great, and the plaza looked great, and the parks looked great. I just thank your staff. I think everybody really works hard, and there's a lot to be said when you take a little bit of pride and ownership in what you do, and I think it shows. So the parks, everything looks really nice. So I think on behalf of the whole council, just thank your staff for doing a great job.
I'll convey your comments to them. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, Stephanie, anything? Lou? All right. If there's no other comment from staff, Don.
The only thing I have is I'm sorry I missed the car show. I was sitting in a 50,000 car show on 152.
Me too.
For over 2 hours, so we didn't get back till late. But we did have Miss Newman, Walter Newman, host a little luncheon each year, and so we went over to that on Saturday. Had a great time. Saw a nice production at the Children's Musical Theater in San Jose, and then got to sit in a wonderful car show for a couple hours. That's all I have.
Roberta?
I would add my thanks to Gardner Reynolds and his department for keeping the town as clean, as pretty as it is, as clean as it is, and well-maintained. And by the way, you're quick, too. The garbage truck knocked a limb off my tree one morning, and I called your cell phone at 8:01 and left a message. At 8:14, it was gone. That's excellent service.
Okay.
That's our staff.
Okay. Nick,
Nothing.
either way? Bob?
I have to comment about Saturday night and the plaza and how beautiful and wonderful to see everyone downtown just walking around and talking to one another. I didn't realize that it would attract so many people, but there was a lot of people there. I know Jim DiMartino I think he brought 2 cars. Yeah. But it's just a good way to get the people out to talk to one another. Unfortunately, for so many years, people used to get out and walk and talk to one another. They don't do it anymore, but maybe the plaza is going to be one way to get them out there. And so this was a perfect event, and it was well run, and thank you. Thank you, Vicki. And we've got the elder abuse prevention coming up October 8th. It's going to be great. I mean, utilization of that area is what it's all about. I know that Michael this was one of his dreams, and we were all part of it. And he felt at one time if it wasn't successful, then he's the one who was going to get the blame for it. But it really turned out beautiful, and I just can't thank everyone that's made it such a wonderful place, you know. And thank you, and thank God we got towns like Newman to live in. But thank you very much.
Great. I don't have much else to add, but Vicki, you and the rest of the chamber are to be congratulated. You guys did a great job, and that was a fun event. And I know you're already ramped up for next year.
We got plans probably maybe in October.
Yeah.
And we have a tree lighting in December, so.
It's great. Thanks so much. And with that, we will adjourn for the evening.